Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that this video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine. As you can see, Kisumu is also fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you're watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, a few days ago, Raila Odinga officially declared his interest in becoming the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. That announcement by Raila Odinga means one thing: that Raila Odinga is likely to exit Kenyan political scene. But several questions are being asked. Who is going to succeed Raila Odinga as the next walking pin? I did a video about that. In case you missed it, you can check it there. The second question is, who is going to replace Raila Odinga in ODM party? Because let's face the truth, Raila Odinga's shoe is just too big for any other individual in ODM party. But should he succeed, it means someone must take charge of ODM party. Who is going to be that person? The third question which most Kenyans are asking is, who is going to succeed Raila Odinga as the next AZIMIO leader? So in this video, I want to look at why personally I strongly believe that Kalonzo Musyoka is that person. But there are several things that Kalonzo Musyoka must do to succeed before it is late. Before we get into all those details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, AZIMIO coalition has several principles. Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, Wajakoya the Fifth, do we call it Uhuru Kenyatta or Jeremiah Kioni of Jubilee, Peter Munya. But based on my thinking, I don't think there is any other person who is best suited to succeed Raila Odinga as the next AZIMIO leader than Kalonzo Musyoka. But Kalonzo Musyoka must do several things. Yesterday, Kalonzo Musyoka, accompanied by Edwin Sifuna, conducted a tour of Nairobi. And this is what Edwin Sifuna told Kalonzo Musyoka right on his face: that hawa watu wote ni watu wa baba. So listen into Edwin Sifuna, because that statement by Sifuna is significant politically speaking.
Raila Amolo Odinga, vile unaona hapa, hawa watu bora uko na baba, hawana kesi na wewe, si ndio? Mimi mwenyewe Mheshimiwa Kalonzo tulikuja hapa na baba. Baba akaambia watu wa Kenyatta Market, wekeni huyu kijana kama senator. Walinipatia kura 100%. Hawa sasa, hawa Mheshimiwa Steve, hakuna maneno ingine. Hawa wanangoja tu baba akisema left, tunaenda wapi? Left. Akisema right, tunaenda wapi? Right. Na wamekuelezea wenyewe, baba yako ni baba yako. Akuwe Australia, akuwe Canada, akuwe Addis Ababa, baba ni nani? Baba. Si ndio? Nataka niwaambie kama katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM, hakuna mahali baba ameenda. Kwani ni mara ya kwanza baba kwenda safari? Na hawa baba wameniambia niambie baba, hata baba akienda wapi, wao watamchungia boma. Wakirudi baba akirudi atapata mambo vile aliwacha. Si wangapi wanasema hiyo ndio mambo yetu hapa Nairobi? Sasa nyinyi mlinituma nikuwe seneta wenu.
So basically what Edwin Sifuna was trying to tell Kalonzo Musyoka is that for them to support him, he must be willing to work with Raila, and Raila Odinga must be the one to direct them to Kalonzo Musyoka. I hope Kalonzo Musyoka got whatever Edwin Sifuna was telling him. But there are certain things that Kalonzo Musyoka can do to succeed in his bid of succeeding Raila Odinga. Of course, I listened to Kalonzo Musyoka's speech yesterday, and I must confess that I saw a big difference in Kalonzo Musyoka's speech. Listening to Kalonzo Musyoka at this point,
baba amekuwa mkubwa kushinda mambo haya, tuampigieni makofi. Na kwa hivyo kazi iliyoko hapa ni kuhakikisheni nyinyi kwamba azimio la umoja One Kenya tuko imara. Siku ya pili baada ya baba kusema anataka kazi hii, tulikutana na wenzangu na nitawataja majina yao ambao tulikubaliana lazima azimio la umoja tukae ngumu na kutetea haki za wananchi wa Kenya. Wa kwanza, sister wetu Martha Karua ako pamoja nasi. Tumpigie makofi. Ya pili, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka ambaye anaongea na nyinyi, anasema lazima tukakamate, shikamane kabisa. Watatu, kiongozi wa DAP Eugene Wamalwa akasema lazima tushikane. Kiongozi wa Roots Party Wanjakoya akasema lazima tushikane pamoja. Nataka mwelewe Wanjakoya, mimi mwenyewe nilienda kwa ofisi yake. I was actually surprised. He has a very serious law practice. Anasimamia mambo ya international labor, immigration law. He's an expert. Kwa hivyo msione kama Wanjakoya ni mtu hivi. Ni sawa kabisa. Ako pamoja na sisi, atingiziki. Mheshimiwa Deputy Leader wa ODM ambaye ni chairman wa AZIMIO Executive Board na aliyekuwa senator wa Kakamega, alikuwa governor wa Kakamega mihula miwili, Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya ako pamoja na sisi. Nimewacha mtu yote hapo.
And also listen to Kalonzo Musyoka at this point.
Kwa hivyo lazima tumuinue, na kuinua ni kuhakikisha hao watu ambao wamenyakua mamlaka kwa njia ambayo tunaelewa hawatazidi kuangamiza uchumi wetu. Jumanne ijayo housing fund hii nimeona imeleta tena before the house, and I can speak because I'm not a member of both houses, so I can comment on anything under the sun. I'm not under obligation. Sema you took business out of the house kupeleka soko market ya Kenyatta, so I can discuss wananchi. I listen to the mover of this motion, Kimani Ichung'wah. You can see somebody struggling to say the truth. Ukweli ni kwamba even that whole thing should not have been brought back to the house before it is adequately dealt with before the courts of law. Walikuwa na jukumu la kwenda, kama wameshindwa kwa court of assistance wangeenda kwa court of appeal, hata kwa Supreme Court, lakini wanalazimisha. Yani sijaona serikali ya kulazimisha, bomoa, lazimisha, mutake musikake. Wanasema wao wako na vitu vya ile kisu walipatiwa sio ya kukata sukuma wiki. Maajabu. Serikali inashtaki wananchi kwa Mungu. Hapana. So, that whole thing was before the court of appeal. Wangeenda kwa court of appeal. So even for my learned brother and friend Weta kukubali hiyo mata iletwe mbele ya nyumba la County Assembly and National Assembly ni makosa. Therefore, I listened to Andai, our leader in the National Assembly. Alijaribu sana. Robert Mbui walijaribu sana. What you must do, mimi naomba tu kitu kimoja. If you must vote on that unfortunate thing, vote against it. That is our party position kama Azimio la Umoja One Kenya.
So clearly Kalonzo Musyoka's messaging is now getting to the direction I wanted them to take. What are some of the things Kalonzo Musyoka must do before it is late? Number one, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka must assemble a team of youthful but firebrand ODM MPs to accompany him in his political activities across the country. How he's going to persuade some of these MPs is something I don't know. But without having those MPs on his side, I don't think Kalonzo Musyoka is going to succeed. The first MP or senator he needs on his side is Edwin Sifuna. Of course, he had something good to say about Edwin Sifuna.
Kama kuna jasiri Kenya hii ni huyu kijana senata wenu. Ana ujasiri, haogopi. He is a communicator. Kwa mambo ya uongozi, ndugu zangu, wabunge and other leaders, you also need to communicate as clearly as Sifuna does. Uwezi akisema anakuita, one time alituita majino magali, alituita in a very nice way. Mpaka hata sasa nikikutana na Weta anacheka. Anasema Sifuna alitufix. There is a fleeces. Communicate. Yeah, I'm coming to that. Huyu kijana ni communicator and I thank God for you. Katika siku za usoni, whatever it is huyu jamaa atataka, Nairobi hii, Kenya hii, apatiwe because he's able. Na sijui aje niambia anataka nini, whatever it is he wants. I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example.
Edwin Sifuna is currently one of the most loved leaders in ODM party. The second person Kalonzo Musyoka must bring on board as part of the young team is Babu Owino. Babu Owino is one of the ODM leaders who are loved across the country. By associating with Babu Owino and ensuring that Babu Owino is in his team would send a good signal to Luo Nation. And I'm glad that Kalonzo Musyoka has also said something about Babu Owino.
And we know kwamba bunge nyinyi, kuna kijana rafiki yangu sana pale atakuja kuzungumza, Babu utaenda, Babu Owino mjumbe wa Embakasi East. Pole kwa sababu wewe mwenyewe umepata maafa. Watu wakafanywa maajabu, kukalipuka gas, watu wanakufa, na wale ambao bado wako hospitali wanaumwa ni wengi.
Kalonzo Musyoka must also look for a gentleman called Caleb Amisi. Caleb Amisi is youthful, firebrand, and is one of those hardliners in ODM party. If Kalonzo wants to succeed, he must have Caleb Amisi. Caleb Amisi will help him penetrate ODM in places like Saboti. Kalonzo Musyoka must also go to the coastal region and figure out that from the coastal region, who should I bring on board, the youthful leader from the coastal region, from ODM party to my side. I'm looking at Mishimboko, but I'm also looking at the Malindi Member of Parliament, Amina Mnazi. That's another firebrand leader. There is also Ken Chonga. So you can figure out from the coastal region, who am I going to bring on board? Kalonzo Musyoka must also go and talk to Olekina. There are several other youthful leaders he can figure out. But those ones, in my view, are the most firebrand ODM leaders, youthful leaders he can get. If he can work closely with them, it will send a good signal. And of course, Kalonzo Musyoka will be able to come up with a new generation of ODM party. Because let's face it, the moment Raila Odinga will exit the political scene, majority of those old leaders within ODM party might also exit the scene. But there are also several others he can figure out how to bring on board from ODM party. Someone like Junet Mohammed, someone like Opeyo Wandai, you know, people like Simba Arati are governors, Gladys Wanga is a governor. He must figure out how he's going to bring some of those. In fact, I would also recommend Kibagendi, Anthony Kibagendi from Kisii, another firebrand leader who worked with Ruto but very firebrand. So those are some of the leaders, youthful leaders he needs on his side to move around so that he can come up with something like, remember during the Jaramogi time when he had the young tax. The second thing Kalonzo Musyoka must do as a matter of urgency is to review his communications strategy. I've been following Kalonzo Musyoka's live stream, which is an improvement because previously he didn't have. But I think Kalonzo Musyoka can figure out how he can incorporate the guys who have been running the live stream for Raila Odinga. And of course, he must have a clear communication. And that's why I was impressed by his speech in Nairobi with Sifuna. I mean, that speech covered almost everything which he needed to cover. But there's also some element of communication which Kalonzo Musyoka should not overlook. And this communication element is found on the grassroots. Raila Odinga effectively used the bunge la wananchi. The people like Nuru Okanga, the people like Gaucho, those Omosh 1 hour, there's that Kikuyu guy, there's that, is calling the Masai what, that lady. Those are some of the people who helped Raila Odinga reinvent himself after the last election. Because I remember the first time Raila Odinga emerged, he held a meeting with bunge la wananchi at Jivanje. He was accompanied by Babu Owino and Jalango mwenyewe. So the truth is, if Kalonzo Musyoka wants people to talk about him, he must have tea with Gaucho, Nuru Okanga, explain himself to them. Then these guys can now go to the bunge la wananchi and start talking about Kalonzo. Because right now, these guys are there, but who are they talking about? All of them are talking about Raila Odinga. So they need to start talking about Kalonzo Musyoka. Otherwise, if they don't do that, William Ruto is with his money waiting. Which also means Kalonzo Musyoka should be able to sustain some of these guys. Raila Odinga used to sustain them. Number 3, Kalonzo Musyoka must also figure out the best way he can incorporate the men in black in his team. Those are going to be Raila Odinga's orphans. He must figure out, how am I going to incorporate the men in black? Because those men in black saved ODM party several times. Those men in black saved even Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest during the demonstrations. The moment Kalonzo Musyoka will have those men in black on his side, it will mean Kalonzo Musyoka will now be free to go to any part of the country without any fear. The moment the men in black will go with him, and then they encounter a challenge, because the politics of Kenya is ruthless. I want to tell you. I remember there was a time we were going for some rally, that was in 2017 in Mumias, and Rashid Echesa had insisted we are not going to step there. Let me narrate to you what happened. As we were with some of my friends from Kisumu here, we were in some vehicle with some MCS going. Then from nowhere, we just saw some vehicles passing us. 2 of them with Ugandan number plates. Nobody was able to penetrate. So these guys went. The next thing we knew was that all of them got out of the vehicle and they started clearing the way. So by the time Raila Odinga landed, those what were Chesa had disappeared. So Kalonzo will need such kind of people, because if he won't, he will not be able to address rallies in some places. I remember even in some places like Meru, Tarakanidi, it was very difficult. Men in black had to save Raila Odinga and the team. So Kalonzo Musyoka must be willing to spend money on men in black fully. He must have a meeting with them. He can talk to Job Commander, their guy, their leader. Then they'll be talking so that they can figure out. Because the 2027 election is going to be one of the most expensive. And I can predict it's not going to be an easy election. He must incorporate them. The 4th thing he must do is to embark on a nationwide tour of ODM strongholds. And just to assure the ODM supporters that for me, mimi ni mtu wa baba, I'm going to support baba, hata baba akienda, we'll take blah, 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 blah. Because the thing is, of all the AZIMIO leaders, Kalonzo Musyoka has that goodwill from ODM supporters. But it will also depend on how he's going to play his politics. And that's why I was talking of the people like Men in Black. People like people like Bunge la Wananchi. If you can talk to Bunge la Wananchi guys, they are spread across. If you are in major towns, you should have noted that under some tree somewhere, there's normally a group talking. So he must figure out how he can penetrate those groups so that they can always be talking about him in Mombasa, in Kilifi, Busia, all over. Talk about his strategy, how he's going to win, things like those. Because the other thing is, you never know, Raila Odinga might go outside there, then in the next 3 years, Raila Odinga will make a comeback into the country. What will happen? And lastly, Kalonzo Musyoka must also figure out the right and the most influential ODM leaders around Raila Odinga to work with. That's why he must look for Junet Mohammed, work with him. He must look for Ali Hassan Joho, work with him. He must look for someone like Opiyo Wandayi, work with him. Kalonzo Musyoka must look for who else? These people around, people like Orengo, Oburu, Anyang' Nyong'o, those influential people, Gladys Wanga, Simba Arati, so that he can start interacting with them. Because, he has worked with Raila Odinga, but at the level of Raila Odinga. He has never worked directly with Raila Odinga people. So I don't know what you think. Do you think there's any other thing that Kalonzo Musyoka needs to do immediately if he intends to succeed Raila Amolo Odinga? Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.